Hello, everybody. We're live. Not sure how many people we got in here yet. I got to get it pulled up on my iPad here so I can see what's going on. There it is. Perfect. Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody who's watching live right now, and hello, everybody who's going to watch the replay later. Got a special guest on tonight. He's coming all the way from Australia. I thank him so much. He's doing this at 9 o'clock in the morning tomorrow. Is what time it is for Josh. So without further ado, he looks like he's ready to go. We'll bring Josh on. Help me welcome Josh. Hello, sir.
Hello, Jesse. How are you?
Not bad. Not bad. How are you?
Not bad. Is that Pothos behind you?
That is, yes.
That's that's huge.
Yeah, it's actually on an aquaponics system on top of my 180-gallon cichlids tank.
Nice.
So
I
it
like
actually,
that.
yeah,
I can't put a lot of plants in with cichlids, but it works perfectly with them, doesn't it?
It does. Like that, the tank has got so many big fish in it that it's got little ones you can see on the side. When I have it on full view, just me on the screen, you can see it on the side. But yeah, it's got so many fish in it. It's so hard to filter, and every little bit helps. So on top of it, it's got like a huge basin, and it's just full of roots and clay media pellets. So it just collects so much bacteria, eats up so much bad stuff. It works good.
Yeah, it looks good. Looks like it's working well. It's growing.
Yeah, that's about 2 years growth, and I've taken hundreds of clippings off of it already as well.
Wow. I've got like 3 or 4 scattered around here, and I grew one that was like, I don't know, maybe that sort of long. And then my wife stole it for the plant room.
Yeah, I've told her to be patient and wait a little longer, and she can get a whole bunch more if you let it start going.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying now.
Yeah, no, it goes fast. I have a grow light on top of it too, so that most definitely helps. Yeah, helps it out, right? So
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it definitely helps that tank out, and it just looks really nice on top of it too.
Yeah, it does. It looks good.
Yeah. So you're in your garage, all set up. That's a pretty smoking looking garage.
Yeah, it's sort of like the man cave / garage / fish room / junk pile over here.
So I guess. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I know you're in Canada, but it's freezing this morning. It's like it's 10 degrees and there's no heating in here, so I've got the dryer below me turned on.
I was just gonna ask you if it ever gets cold enough in there that you have to help it out a bit.
Yeah, sort of. I mean, every fish tank in here, bar one, has a heater. So I've got like a goldfish tank over here that has a heater in it just to stop it from getting too cold. And I'm starting to think I should do that with this other tank over here. But yeah, as far as people, yes, the only option is the turn the dryer on. Expensive.
So you call that a cold day? That we got to like 12 today, and this has been like Celsius.
Yes.
And it's been like the warmest day we've had forever.
That's crazy because yesterday we got to 9 was the max, and but that's the coldest day we've had for a while. So we're just entering winter, and you're obviously entering summer.
Yep.
Yeah.
So your winters do get a little bit chilly.
They do. It doesn't snow here. Where I live, it's funny because I'm in a valley, so I get like the in winter we get the coldest weather, so it might be like -1 or 2 at night, and get up to maybe 10 or 11 or something during the day. Oh no, sorry, for us maybe 12 or 13 during the day, because we are always a couple degrees colder than everyone else and a couple degrees warmer at the peak. So it's a weird spot to be in, but that's what valleys do, I suppose.
Yeah. Well, hey, that sounds pretty temperate. Now, I'd imagine your summers are a little extreme.
Yes, it can get pretty warm. This summer, it's like we didn't even have a summer. It was just bushfires and smoke everywhere, and You know, even when it was a real good 35-degree day, it was just smoke everywhere instead. Very, very few nice summer days this year. So it sort of just flew by and never really hit us. I mean, we were affected by a lot of stuff, but we never really got those, let's go down to the beach and have fun summers.
Sounds like we're going to have a summer like that with all this stuff going on in the world, and you're going to have a winter like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's going to be weird and different.
So speaking of that, without speaking of that, in Ontario today, in fact, and it's worked out perfect getting you to come on from Australia, is we were supposed to have our KOAC convention. It's the Canadian Aquarium Clubs Convention. It was to be put on by Durham region this year. And guess what the theme was this year? Rainbow fish from Australia. And they had all kinds of Australian speakers coming as well.
Okay.
So I thought, since we didn't get to do that now, and I got you on, I'm giving people like the next best thing. At least they get to talk to somebody from Australia that knows something about fish. So
not rainbows though. I want to get some rainbows. I want to keep some rainbows, but I've never actually kept them. I like them a lot. I've been thinking about the other day actually. So unfortunately, my local fish store closed down a couple of weeks ago. I think there was, it was probably coming for a little while, but then, the thing we're not supposed to speak about happened and sort of just sealed the deal. And I said to him, because he had like a little school of Bosmani or Bosemani rainbows. And I was like, how much do you want for them? Now you're shutting everything down. Now you'll sell them. And he's like, yeah, all right. I'll get back to you. I'll let you know. And I'm like, cool. Put them on hold for me and I'll come back in a couple of days and get them. Came back in a couple of days and they were gone. And I was like, what are you doing, dude? Like, I really wanted to buy them. And he's like, oh, sorry, I don't even remember that conversation. I'm like, it's all right. I'm like, look, I'll just get these Murray rainbows over here. They're completely different, smaller fish. But I thought it was really cool to try and get some native Australian rainbows. He's like, oh, I can't. They're on hold for someone. I'm like, oh, we're on hold for me.
You're gonna have to find out where you can just go collect them.
Well, yes, actually, Blake's Aquatics is in the chat. We've spoken about it a couple of times, and congratulations on 1,000 subscribers, Blake. Well done, well deserved.
Yep, very good, very good.
He's spoken about it, and I think Bodgy, another fish tuber down here, have spoken about some. I think there's a place like an hour away from me that they have a few different species that we could go and have a look at. So, yeah, I definitely want to try it. I'm thinking about changing a couple things with some tanks, and I would definitely add rainbows to the fish room at some stage.
Now, I asked that question kind of naively, like because someone could say, well, Jesse, why don't you go get some native fish in Canada? Well, from one end of Canada to the other, there's quite an array and a difference of like just even to get to collect them. So yes. That being said, do you live near where rainbow fish are native to you, or is it a bit of a trek?
I think no, it is. Most of it is a bit of a trek. So most of them are up far north. So I'm like bottom southeast of Australia. So I'm in Victoria. Okay. And so I'm like close. We're further away from the equator. So up north it gets a lot warmer, and then you start having lots of pseudomogals and lots of rainbows that you can find up there. Down here though, there is the Murray rainbow, which the Murray River is a river that borders Victoria and New South Wales. So I go camping there all the time.
Okay. But
to be honest, I've never really noticed what sort of fish are there. Like, I like fishing, but I haven't gone fishing there for years. And I went up last year for a little bit, and I wanted to try and catch some fish and just see what was up there. But we didn't really see anything, to be honest. And yeah, it was got a bit difficult. Although next time I go up, I probably would try and spend a certain amount of time, take my son out. We've got kayaks, and we'd probably go and try and find some of the streams that I found this year, and actually take some equipment and have a bit of a search for them. But no, there's not a lot. Me and my son have gone down to our local streams down here, and we've caught a bunch of mosquito fish. So we did a little project there. We had a lot of fun making a video with it.
I seen that video.
Yeah, that's an old one. Yeah. But that one was interesting because where we caught the fish, like I started to feel a little bit guilty going, why am I grabbing these fish out of here and putting them into a tank? But that whole stream just dried up and they lived for like another year after that. So technically we sort of saved them, but there was 2 other fish in there that I accidentally stirred up that were a lot bigger, and I have no idea what they were. So I've always been curious. I want to go back and try and catch one of those guys. Probably redfin because they're an invasive species over here, but I know that they're in a lot of the dams and stuff around this way.
Oh, okay.
The short answer, not too many.
Not too many. Yeah. There's a thing in Ontario anyways, where it's hard for us to keep native fish. And if you're going to keep something, what they consider a game fish, a sport fish, that people fish for to consume or just for sport, that you're not even allowed to keep them at a season. So say I took a largemouth bass and I put it in my aquarium. Well, largemouth bass season in Ontario is only from June until I believe the end of November. So I would have to release it again after November back into the wild to be legal about it. So yeah, we're not even really allowed to.
As in, you can take it during the season, but you got to put it back after season.
Yeah, you can't keep one alive outside of its fishing season.
Interesting.
Yeah, it is. It's a shitty law because it'd be kind of neat having a tank of largemouth bass. That'd be awesome to have 3 or 4 of them in a 180. Would be
one of my dream fish, koi fish, and they're illegal here, but they're not illegal in the other states. So that's really frustrating. Why
aren't you allowed koi?
I think because they can be seen as an invasive species if they get into the ecosystem. They'll compete with all the natives and probably dominate. But I don't know. Maybe they had a story or something did happen with that in Victoria, so that's why they banned them. But that hasn't happened in other states, so they're more relaxed. But yeah, one day I would like to have a large pond with some koi. Somehow.
Yeah, we're allowed all the koi, all the koi we want. Yeah.
Yep.
Koi's, but they invade here too. Like we're on the Great Lakes system. There's 5 Great Lakes in North America, and like they're called Great Lakes because they're absolutely huge. And they're full of goldfish. And
that's crazy.
Yeah, they're wrecking stuff. It's not good. It's not good at all.
Total Tropicals TV saying, Josh, if you want to collect rainbows, I'll take you if you don't mind the crocs. Yeah, I don't mind the crocs. You just make lots of noise and they'll run away, yeah?
Or it's a dinner bell. I don't know. That's
There is someone that I used to work at one of my local fish stores, and I got along with him really well and sort of just message him every now and then on Instagram since he left that shop. And he plans a trip every year or so to go up to a town called Cairns, which is basically, I think it's the most northern city in Australia. Maybe, yeah, I think it is. It definitely is, at least in Queensland. And they catch a lot of pseudomoguls and stuff up there. So they go on a trip doing that. And he told me I should go one day. And my family actually have an apartment up in Cairns, and we can go up there and stay there for free. Basically, they rent it out all the time, and then we can just make a week and we can go up. So it's actually a cheap holiday for us. So I'm all for it. I love it up there, and I think, I don't know where you are, Total Tropicals, but I'm assuming you're up that way as well.
don't know. We'll see. Mine's all delayed. I wouldn't see it for a few minutes.
On what, the chat?
Yeah, it always is.
I'm just using the StreamYard thingy. It doesn't stand out as much.
No.
But hello to anyone that said hello and I've missed it.
Yeah, sorry everybody. I get talking and I don't even look at the chat too much. It's terrible. I'm a horrible guest to people in the chat, but looks like a lot of people saying hello and bugging you about Crocs. Chewy is making a statement here. Alberta has a lake full of goldfish. It may lead them to being banned as it costs the state a lot of money to have them removed. And yeah, we have them here in Ontario as well. I can tell you in Lake Ontario, down around Hamilton and whatnot, the goldfish in the marshy areas of the lakes, they rip everything up. They destroy the habitat. It's pretty tough.
Yeah, well, that's exactly, and that's where I'm assuming that happened with us somewhere with koi, and that was it. So, yeah. Total Tropicals Gold Coast. They don't have Crocs in the Gold Coast, do they? I don't know. But yes, definitely would like to go and try and find some and yeah, get more native fish. Everything I keep is not native. It's all, yeah, everything's imported.
Yeah, definitely. I don't have any native fish. Now, do you guys have like a problem with guppies in your ditches and ponds and stuff like that? And I'll tell you why I ask, and that's we vacation to Cuba once in a while, not anymore since this stuff happened. But I've been at resorts, and their ponds at the resorts are full of guppies, like really really cool looking guppies. So that's a temperate area, I guess. Did Australia end up with the same thing? Because that's the same thing. People just letting guppies go, I bet.
To be honest, I don't know, because where I live, it's too cold for them.
Too cold.
So they wouldn't last a winter. We're one of those tricky places. Again, like Blake has got some beautiful fish. One of my favorite Australian natives. And I used to have some of them. They're very hard to find. Unfortunately, they died one by one over maybe 6 or 7 months. So I don't really know what happened, but the honey blue eye pseudomogul.
Okay. So
I was hoping to try and breed them. I did a little species spotlight on them because I just find them fascinating and they're endangered. And Blake's got some and he managed to breed some. And this is the only other way that I've ever heard it working is by summer tubbing. He put a pond tub outside over the 3-4 months that the weather is actually warm enough. They're all fine outside. But then once we hit now, I'm assuming the pseudomoguls would last maybe a week in this weather at the moment.
Okay.
So a lot of those fish, and because there's not a whole array of cold water fish really. You go into a pet store here and you might have 6 or 7 tanks of cold water fish and the rest is tropical. So
okay.
I suppose maybe that's one of the things is you don't find any of those fish really out in the wild too often because very few would last.
Yeah, I guess so. If you're still getting cold. Yeah. Now that brings me to another point. I did take notes, by the way, of things I wanted to ask. I seen somebody was on a live chat either last night or the night before from Australia, and they were making a comment that like pea puffers are like $200 to $400 in Australia.
Yep.
Seriously?
Typically they're $200. I found a bargain the other week. They're $150 each. I actually had a Instagrammer that I met at the Fish Expo down here. She just stayed in touch with her and she messaged me and said, do you know anyone that I can get pea puffers? And we couldn't find any. Like I asked a couple shops for her and she went to other shops. So they're really rare because they're illegal to import them. But if you can breed them, then you can make a pretty penny. So
that makes sense.
Absolutely stunning little fish. I would love them one day. I can't afford that. I mean, maybe one day I can afford it for such a tiny little fish.
They're like $4 here.
Yeah, $4 or $5 over there. Yeah,
that's it. Yeah,
I know that blows my mind. It blows all of our minds, and it's always a funny one to talk overseas. But to sound like a broken record, Blake's Aquatic has 4, and I'm just fingers crossed that they breed, and I'll go visit his fish room and just quickly put my hand in and grab some. No, yeah, but if his breed, I'll try and see if he can hook me up for a less, maybe a Canadian price. I'll give him $4 or $5 for him.
yeah, it was Total Tropicals that mentioned it last night. Yeah,
it's come up a couple times the last few weeks because it just blows everybody away. The difference, like we're getting ripped off.
So what about like some like I don't consider pea puffers even a high end fish. Like I said, they're very cheap here. Like cichlids cost you more money than them here. What about like you get into some of the higher end plecos and hemiancestris and whatnot? Are you able to import them? Or
I think one of the examples was I went to a and I might be wrong. Like I know a little bit about plecos, but the different species, I could be slightly wrong here. But I remember watching a channel maybe about a year ago, and the person took us into a fish store and bought a zebra pleco.
Yeah, an L46.
$250 American.
That's about right.
And then I went to an auction maybe 6 months ago, and they had zebra plecos, and you could get a pair for maybe $30 or $40.
Oh, wow.
So I was looking at that going, like, being like a fish tuber, sometimes I see things like that and go, I've never thought about getting something like that, but that is something that, hey, that would actually work in my tank, and that would be something people would like to see. But I couldn't tick that first box. I wasn't sure if it would be perfect for my community tank or if they needed something different. So I didn't pull the trigger. But that was one that I went, oh, that's a role reversal.
Yeah, I wouldn't have put my hand down at that auction. $30 or $40. Now you have to be careful because there's false zebras too, right? There's Colombian zebras and
that's why I tread carefully, because I'm like, well, they said zebra and it looked like one, and maybe there's a different subcategory or something. But one good one is, and I'm never really, not that people have ignored me, but haven't really got a straight answer as to discus. I think would be an interesting one because discus can be very expensive. So over here, you can get an average, I don't know, what's the best way to say it? Maybe just not really a runt, but they're not stunning discus. You can get
like wild colors.
Well, they're not wild. They aren't wild colors. Or actually, I suppose some of them are, but they're like, because some of the wild ones are way more expensive than the than the bred ones as well. But they start at like $50 over here for a little discus, maybe like that sort of size. And then they go up to maybe $300 for like your big full grown, beautiful looking turquoise or whatever. But I don't know how much they are over your way. I've always been interested how much discus are all over the world.
Cheaper, but I don't know.
Relative?
Yeah, relative. Yeah. I guess there's obviously probably a difference in how much our money's worth compared to each other's, right? I don't know whose money's worth more. But yeah, like zebra plecos here, $100 an inch.
Well, there we go. Total Tropicals are saying true zebras are $700 over here. So they may have been, obviously they probably were a different one because someone would have snapped them up.
Yeah. They're $100 an inch here. If you're getting like almost breeding size to breeding size, you're $250 to $300.
That's crazy. I think the Canadian dollar and the Aussie dollar used to be very similar, but the Canadian dollar was worth more. But before all this stuff happened, the Aussie dollar just started taking a massive dive, and we got down to like 60 US cents. I don't know if you were the same or if you stayed close to the American dollar.
No, we've come close to the American dollar once. I think we were at par once, and that was when the States went for a shit, like back in 2009. But no, we're about between 70 and 73 cents US.
Yeah, so we're pretty similar. I reckon if I flew over to Canada, that I would, if with $100, I'd probably come back with $90 or something.
Yeah, it sounds pretty close.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely crazy. And that was part of the conversation I wanted to have with you today was some of the differences between North America and Australia, being on the other side of the world, at what kind of supplies you can get compared to us, fish. Back to your discus, I think they're a bit cheaper here, but I guess I know when I'm looking at another kind of fish that I want to breed, it's more I look at what kind of water I have or how hard it's going to be to make the water that fish is going to want. So what I do know about discus is they like a very low pH. They're like 6.5. They like, so if you have water like that, they would probably do great.
I'm trying to. Ours is mine is 7.4 or 7.6, I think. So they were probably the one fish that I kept that I did have to add. I can't remember what it was, but add something extra to try and bring the pH down every water change.
Hydrochloric acid.
Yes, I'm trying to just remember the brand that I was using, but yeah, effectively, what I always try and do is you utilize the substrates or hardscape and that sort of thing, because I suppose when it all boils down, I'm a sort of a lazy fish keeper. Like, I'm happy to do, a week of, once a week, do water changes and give everything a scrape and clean it up. But I also don't like the idea of dosing different things and trying to chase parameters. So I think chasing parameters, eventually you'll come unstuck. You buy a fish that's going to live for 10 years and you're chasing parameters for 10 years. Like, the risk is versus also starts to become a pain in the ass.
Yeah, it is. Like my water here is 8.2.
Okay.
Yeah, like my fish should wear helmets. Like it's bad. TDS of about 400 to 420.
So you would be you'd be able to, like, cichlids and goldfish and stuff are just like, they love it. Whereas over here, I've always put crushed coral sand in with cichlids and goldfish. Right. Now, I kept goldfish once or twice beforehand, thinking I can keep all these fish alive, but I can't keep a goldfish alive. What's going on? And that was it. I'd sort of changed my mindset and sort of treated them like a cichlid. And now I've got 3 goldfish over here. One of them has dropsy, and there's nothing I can do about it. And I feel for it every day. It just keeps going along. But it's pine coned, all its scales, and it creeps me out. It looks so, but he or she's still swimming around. But I've tried feeding lots of greens. I've tried ramping the temperature right up, big water changes, changing water quality, but just acting like it's normal. But I think at some stage I'm going to come in and it's going to be gone. But the other goldfish are all fine. And I've actually got a sailfin pleco in with them, which I love that guy. He's about this big.
Oh, wow. He's getting there.
He's probably, 8 inches, 9 inches.
I just lost a sailfin last winter, 17 inches.
Well, I was going to say he's not on those half size, but that's how old was he?
I don't know, because what ends up happening is people end up giving me sailfin plecos that outgrow their tanks. And then that's
exactly what happened here.
That's how I end up, because I would never buy one, because all I do is I do plecos that don't get over 6 inches. That's all I do. Now, someone made a mention here. Dragon Lair says, and I believe he was talking about the discus, and he says between 7 and 7.8, they'll do just fine. So I guess if they're tank raised and they're used to higher pH water, they'll do well.
Well, that was one thing when you said 6.5. I'm not an expert on anything fish related. I know a bit about it, and I love having a chat about it. And I love, like, my channel is about sort of trying things, and if they work, hopefully it inspires people to do it, and hopefully teaches people go, hey, if this idiot can do it, then I'm going to try.
That's what I tell everybody. If this dumb carpenter can figure it out, you can.
But that was one thing. I'm pretty sure when I was putting in the hydrochloric acid or whatever, it was getting the down to like more like a 7.2 instead of a 7.6. So it wasn't a huge shift, but yeah, like they did pretty well. Although after 18 months, I did end up losing them, but I think that I attribute that to keeping them with angelfish and doing a bit of research that angelfish can pick up bugs that they don't care about, but discus, they get really affected by it. But I mean, I had them laying eggs and all that sort of stuff. So I've had them thriving and having issues. So I've actually stood back from them. I feel like I need to spend a few $100s on some good discus. And I feel like maybe I need to import some or something like that myself rather than just going and buying $3 $50 discus and getting some poor genes and poor quality.
The better you start with is the better you end up with. And sometimes even that takes a while to get it to come around. Now, there are other ways to play with your water too. Like I do a lot of Caridina shrimp, but I use RO water and remineralize it. But that way I can keep it stable. It's always, honestly, my TDS doesn't sway 5 points either way when I do water changes, because I can do it. I just add just as much remineralization salt, and I can bang it out exactly what the tank is. So that way I'm able to keep it stable. And then, like you said, using a substrate to keep it down. Like I use like a heavy nutrient substrate to keep the pH down. So
yeah, well, that is. I'm actually today. I'm setting something up. I've got a day of filming some videos because there's a few things that have arrived. So I've got some unboxings and I've got a tank that we're setting up, and it's going to be the opposite. I'm not going to be trying to buffer it. I'm going to try and keep it down. So
okay,
watch this space. Nathan Fishboy just said try putting some stress coat in. His goldfish have that happen, and try it for a week and they come back all right. I will do that. I've never really used stress coat, to be honest. So maybe I'll go and pick some of that up, Nathan, and try, because I want to try and save this goldfish. But I've just been, thinking that I know a lot of research online. When a fish has dropsy, if those things don't work, usually it means something like a kidney failure or something like that. And there's not much you can do when that happens.
Something else is causing it.
Yeah.
Something else is causing it. That's I had a veterinarian on a couple of weeks ago, fish vet, and that's what he said. What you see most of the time happening with a fish isn't the problem. It's something else causing a problem. No different than us, I guess. That if we're having a pain here or an inflammation here, it might be something else causing that, right? So
yes,
but I guess, hey, what do you got to lose by trying it?
And that's exactly it. I don't know a lot about stress coat. As I said, I really, really do steer clear of chemicals. Only fertilizers for plants, and at the moment I'm playing around with No More Blackbeard, which, I'm working on a video for that too. I hate Blackbeard. And I hate Blackbeard.
It's gross. It's gross, and it's really hard to get rid of.
Exactly. That's it. But I've found a way to get rid of it. So actually working on something at the moment, and it's working really well, but it's just not very simple. That's all.
Okay. Yeah, sometimes the best things aren't simple, and that's why people don't use them generally and just have a lot of allergy. So
yes,
you gotta. There's a few things. One thing I did notice in your videos is you use a lot of tissue cultures for your plants. Is that pretty much primarily what you use, or do you take cuttings, stem clippings, anything like that?
No, I haven't done any propagation really of anything of my own. So I've got one little nano tank after I visited Blake at his place, and he took some cuttings and stuff for me, and I replanted that one tank with cuttings. Other than that, I sort of just buy all my plants normally as normal, but then the tissue culture, I use that with the Bacopa monieri, or I always say the technical name's wrong, with that exact same tank, and it sort of worked and it sort of didn't work. I was trying to create a carpet with it, whereas I don't think I should have done that. I should have tried to do more of just like a clump. So then this other tank, my tanks are sitting in front of me. So when I'm looking over here, it's because I'm looking at them, is I have done that. So we're trying to do the dry start method, and I've lost count. I'm either up to week 4 or 5 on that, and that's coming along really, really nicely.
It works good.
Yes, I'll be using this. I've got a couple different type of plants, tissue cultures for today's projects as well. So I'd say I'm getting more into the tissue culture. It wasn't something I knew anything about maybe 5 months ago, but I tried it on one. It seemed to work. It seemed to work again here. So I'm hoping it works again a third time.
Yeah, it's tissue cultures have been out for quite a while now, but I don't know. I think everybody is scared of them, but there's nothing to be scared about. And actually, someone who's watching right now, I know he is. He's actually one of the moderators. Is Redfish Bluefish, Jason from Redfish Bluefish. He actually makes his own tissue cultures. He does his own, man. The guy's a scientist. I'm sure.
That's cool.
I don't know if you've seen his videos on it, but check him out for sure. Redfish Bluefish.
I have seen a couple Redfish Bluefish videos, but not for a little while. And it's one of those things, trying to support so much of the fish fam, you get kind of stuck.
It's
the
hard.
one thing I get worried about with them is you've got all your roots, in the tissue culture, is I just get worried about damaging them when I'm pulling them apart. So it seems, I mean, I'm not an expert on it. As I said, this is just the third time I'm trying it, but it seems like you just got to sort of wash it out, pull it apart, and you should be fine. But that's one thing that I think may scare people is, all right, how am I going to get that apart? How am I going to do this? How am I going to not damage it after I've just paid however much? And I've also noticed they're not very expensive either. Like,
how many do you get out of that? Like, you get tons. You get tons of shoots off of one tissue culture. So, Jason, put up your link to your channel, Redfish Bluefish, if you don't mind. And by all means, check his channel out. He will show you like how to pull them apart. He'll show you how to grow them. Hell. So yeah, he'll show you how to plant them and pull them apart. Everything. He will take the worry right out of it. When he explains it, it's very simple. Very, very simple.
I'll definitely check that out.
Yeah, he's got me turned on to them because before that, I was always I just plant clippings, right? But I guess the big takeaway for me is that they're sterile. They're 100% sterile. You're not bringing any algae in. You're not bringing any snails in. You're not bringing hydra in. You're not bringing any problems into your tank. You're just bringing sterile plants into your tank, and that's, as far as I can see, to have zero risk of actually bringing a pest into your tank. That's the only way to do it with live plants, by far. Yeah,
no, absolutely. And I like the idea of, I mean, experimenting with this dry start. I've spoken to a couple people since, and they have like these amazing looking scaped aquariums, and I've asked them, hey, do you ever do a dry start? And they're like, nah, because I'm too impatient. But the results, I don't know, just easily spreading up the Monte Carlo in the tissue culture and then planting it out and trying to see if you can get a carpet in a dry start. It just seems, I don't know, it seems like the best way to do it. So yeah, not only is it, as you said, there's no bugs and no stress with it. It's also can be a better option for certain applications.
Yeah, it can. If you're planting seeds, if you're putting seeds in, dry start's about the only way you can do it without the seeds floating up eventually or dislodging or moving around. Yes. We ordered a pile of seeds. They're there's an app for your phone. It's called the Wish app, and you can get Chinese seeds, and they call them aquarium plants. Some of them are, some of them aren't. Some of them are you don't want. But anyways, we did a whole 25-gallon long, and I carpeted the whole thing with this and did the dry start with ADA Amazonia. And it worked out great. You get to watch them all sprout up. They all sprout up from seeds, and they don't get washed away. The roots are in good by the time you start, right? So yeah, it works good.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go.
I was going to ask you what kind of like supplies do you guys get? And is it easy for you to get them? As easy for us, like say from Hagen or the bigger companies, do they all come into Australia, or do you guys use different brands from Europe?
Brands. We've got, I don't know the origins of all the brands, to be honest. There's a few Australian companies. This is my favorite Australian company. So there is dried Australian blackworms.
Oh, very good.
I don't know if the company name is Biopigment, but there's a cool story about this guy who bought a farm about 3 hours from where I live, and it had a dam, and he's been growing blackworms in the dam, and then they go through the process of drying them out and selling them, and fish go nuts for them. So you can get non-dried or dried, but that's like $20 for like a 10 grams.
Wow.
So they're pretty expensive. What do I use? I use a lot of New Life Spectrum.
Okay.
I like the Hikari algae wafers. I picked up these the other day because I ran out of the Hikari wafers because the Sal Finn mainly, he likes them. At the moment, I put one in for some shrimp to have a bit of a nibble on, and they did, but the problem is they only eat like, a 1/100th of a pallet.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think these guys are Aussie, Easy Life. So some of the fertilizers, that's liquid CO2, which is a contentious point for some. But I think we have to import a lot of stuff, and I'm not sure if it's American or European though.
Yeah, I think some's European, but I guess for us anyways, there's enough of a population in North America that I guess they have even European companies have distributors here. But I wasn't sure if you would get more North American stuff or European stuff than we do.
Blake's saying yes. So we have Hagen and Fluval.
Okay.
I'm one of those people that I get a fish food that works and I just stick to it. So I don't really shop around. But speaking to a lot of you guys, it sort of made me start thinking, all right, I need to try something different each time and see if I'm getting better results. And I actually do have a bunch of different foods on their way to me. Hopefully I'll get them tomorrow or the next day. And then I can actually have a bit of fun with them. Yeah,
Blake's actually said North Fin here, and that's Canadian food.
Yes, I know the logo now. Yep.
Yes, we actually are one of our local club members is actually a salesman for North Fin.
Okay.
And it's fantastic food. If you can get it, try the Bug Pro.
Pro?
Yeah, it's called Bug Pro. And it's black fly larvae, essentially.
All right.
Yeah, and it works fantastic. Your fish will go absolutely nuts for it.
Redfish, bluefish. Before I said I need those blackworms.
Yeah.
One of the almost, I find it sort of romantic in a really weird way. Is that it's an older gentleman that's created this. And he's not interested in making this a massive global worldwide thing. He's like, I can produce this many every month, and that's all I'm going to do. So even the fish stores only get a couple of these each to sell. And I know it would be awesome if they did do a bit more, and then they could export it and turn it into something big that everyone could enjoy it. But it's also his prerogative to just go, I'll do it. It works for me. I sell
Right.
enough to make a living, and I'm not going to put myself under any more pressure.
But yeah, I can respect that. I can definitely respect it. He does what he
Yeah,
wants to do, and those few that are fortunate enough to receive his products, get them. Everybody else, hey, make your own food if you don't like it.
I have emailed him a couple times to say, hey, can I come down and check out the facility and do a video on it? Because he actually is in like a remote control yacht club with my dad.
Okay.
But because he lives so far away from where we are, he doesn't go there all the time. So I should remind my old man actually to try and get in his ear, because I think it would be a really fun thing to check out, really unique, and something that, would be a good video for YouTube to share out. Blake
Most
says
definitely.
he's got some Bug Pro and that he'll give me some next time we catch up.
Yeah, try even like for any of your fry or smaller fish that the crisps may be a little bit big for. I just put them in a pepper mill and grind them smaller, and they go nuts for it. That's really one of the only commercial foods I use with any of my plecos is Bug Pro. I actually either use fresh foods like zucchini, and I make my own food out of duckweed and zucchini and spinach and all kinds of stuff, and blend it all together, bake it, and feed that to them. But that's about Bug Pro's about the only commercial food I feed my plecos.
Okay. That's a lot of effort with the food. I've thought about it before, but I'm just not a good cook, so I worry it would taste bad.
I don't know. They don't seem to mind. You have to remember, I have over 1,000 plecos in my fish room, right? So that can get rather costly on commercial food as well.
That's right. Yes.
Not to mention the extra mess it makes. It's something I notice when I feed them fresh food or food that I made them with no preservatives. Like it's just the straight goods they're getting, no fillers. Then the waste is totally different than with commercial foods. There's always a lot more waste. And they don't always finish the commercial food, and they always finish the fresh food or the home prepared food. So just some things I've noticed, and growth rates and whatnot. That's why I do it.
Yeah.
I do a big batch at a time that lasts me a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. I like how everyone approaches the fish hobby differently, and the commitment that you're showing is obviously paying off to have that many plecos and to be able to improve the growth rate as well.
Yeah, no, it's I guess it's what you put into it, right? If the more someone made a comment earlier about water parameters, and you can keep fish in. I'm ad-libbing it here. You can keep fish in a water parameter that's not really, that fish isn't really suited for, but getting it to breed in that parameter may be a different story, right? So sometimes to get fish to breed and whatnot, you have to go a little bit above and beyond. Case in point, I have a 72-gallon tank off to the left-hand side of me, and I have Blue Phantoms in that tank, Blue Phantom plecos, L128, I believe they are. Anyways, I got to drop the pH. Well, from all accounts I've heard, I should be dropping the pH to like 5.5 to get them to breed. So I've been doing that. I got it. The tank's full of leaves right now. It actually looks terrible. I have it full of oak leaves to try to bring the pH down and everything else. But this is some of the things you got to do if you want to try to breed some of the more sensitive fish to breed, more harder to get to breed fish. And in doing so, I was, just before we came on, I was I looked over at that tank. I can see it from here, and they're out right now. But my Geophagus tapajos in there actually spawned, and they've been carrying the babies around their mouth, and they're spitting them out and letting the babies swim around the tank, which is kind of neat.
I love that when you can see the mouth brooders, looking after their kids, their fry.
So I'll definitely be putting a video up about that. I got quite a bit of footage on it, so that'll be cool to see. I don't keep the Geophagus babies anymore. I found them too difficult to raise. It's not that they're hard to raise. They're just time consuming. So much time, and they grow so slow. They grow so slow, and you gotta keep hammering live brine shrimp to them and everything else. So I just let them nature take its course in the tank, and we'll
Yes.
see. Maybe some will make it, but I doubt it. There's I have some weird fish in there. I don't know if you've ever heard. Have you ever heard of a Fisher woodcat?
No.
Yeah, me either. Till I bought them at an auction, and I was literally, as the auction's going, I went up and look, and I'm on my phone researching them like before I'm buying them, and I went, yeah, I can do them. They're a cool looking catfish that only gets to like 8-9 inches, but they're almost nocturnal. Like they very rarely come out while the aquarium light's on, but they are very beautiful and crazy colors. They got like almost like rainbow colors going through them with pinks and stuff. They're and during the day they hide and they look dead. They look like they're dead during the day. You'll see them kind of laying on their side. You just see their eyes and they're wet and they're covered with sand and crap. Like they don't move for nothing. And
Okay.
yeah, but they're kind of neat. So I got 3 of them in there too. So I'd imagine they'll eat the geophagus babies
At night.
yeah. And there's two pair of geophagus tapajos in there, and a whole bunch of blue phantoms and an L106 orange seam pleco in there as well. Yeah.
How many tanks do you have all up?
I don't know. I think I'm around 30, 34 maybe.
It's a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It is. But I do make it. I make my hobby into a business a bit as well. I noticed Bob's put up my my webpage a couple of times, my website, and it's been all updated. Like I sell fish on it, plants, shrimp, everything. So yeah, and I do caves. I make pleco caves, all different
I've
kinds.
seen those. Yes.
Yeah, my wood ones. They're starting to get famous. They're and they work awesome. They work absolutely awesome.
I'm pretty sure that's how I found your channel.
Okay.
Either I can't remember if someone recommended to check it out or whether it came up and I was like, oh, I want to learn about this.
Yeah, I did a DIY on them too. If you just want to, if you have the equipment and you want to make your own,
Yeah.
they work pretty good. Your Total Tropicals, yeah, they have a video of their Fisher woodcats. So maybe you can get them in Australia.
Yeah.
GBR Aquatics has. Yeah, I know why you're calling them driftwood cats, because that's where they'll hide. They'll like jam themselves into driftwood and stuff to hide all day long. They're pretty wild looking, and when you see them eat, oh, you've never seen anything like it. Like they shovel it in so much. Their bellies are out like this. They could barely swim when they're done if you feed them too much. They will not stop.
Yeah. JRB's saying that he's breeding them.
Yeah,
GRB's down here as well. So yeah,
Total Tropicals is agreeing with me here. They'll eat themselves into a coma. They absolutely will. I don't like. They only have to eat once in a while because they do eat so much.
Gosh, it's
It's
crazy.
frightening. Yeah, I'd imagine it's frightening. They're pretty like spazzy fish, man. If you like wake one up during the day, it scares me. I pull my hands out of the tank because like they start blasting. They'll hammer right into the side of the tank. They freak right out. They yeah, there's something else. But anyways, yeah, that's what's in that tank. So I doubt the babies will last long in there. But I think the dropping of the pH triggered them to breed for sure. The geophagus. So yeah,
Absolutely. I know I've still haven't done it yet. I was trying to breed pygmy cories for a while because I love them so much, and just had no luck. And Blake had a completely different setup to me, and he's had some luck. So I've moved them and put them into another tank. It's similar, but at the same time, there's now another type of fish in there. So if they do, I don't know how successful I'll be in trying to actually raise any fry, but yeah. But that's exactly it. They've gone into a tank with a lower pH.
they should go then. I know cories like a lower pH. I've kept cories. I don't have any currently. And I never even really tried to breed them too much. But everyone tells me wait for a thunderstorm. Drop the water. If you think there's going to be a thunderstorm that night, drop the water, do a cooler water change, and then the thunderstorm, maybe feed them really good before that, fatten them up good, and the thunderstorm's supposed to bring it on for Corys.
I've heard that too.
Yeah, I don't know what the science is behind them. What kind of shrimp do you have?
Just cherry shrimp, just some red cherries and black cherries. I just got some more shrimp, but I'm not sure what they were. I just got sent them with some other stuff, and
Okay.
pretty sure they're just cherry shrimp as well. And I put them in another tank, and I will see them again in 6 months, and I'll know what they are.
Right. I right behind me, you can see the tank down there. I actually just set it up today. It's got cherry shrimp in it. That's
Yes.
what I'm gonna do with
Cherries are nice and easy, and I've got some really good-looking ones here that that I'm going to give their own tank. And a little bit similar to you, I don't breed a lot of fish, but I wouldn't mind focusing on breeding a bit more and getting a couple more tanks and just doing species only and just fully focus on just breeding, not about trying to make everything pretty and keep worrying about how the tank looks all the time, but worry about the levels and trying to get some eggs and fry growing. And that's probably one thing. Shrimp very easily breed, but I'd like to sort of breed them up and get heaps more because they're such a good color, and sort of run with that and then give them their own tank and then try something else with a different fish. Probably some guppies to begin with because they're nice and easy. Although actually that's a good one because I have endlers that breed like crazy, but then normal fancy guppies don't last very long in my tanks, and I know exactly why. Again, same theory of the goldfish. You need to harden the water up. So to put something in like some Texas Holy Rock is
I don't know. Guppies are generally pretty hardy for that, man. I actually soften my water up for them. It's just because I put them in a tank that's I have soft on purpose, but and they breed like crazy in there. I don't know. Guppies are weird. They get a lot of problems.
I know it is a weird one, but I'm pretty confident that's what it is. They need the harder water, and people that I know that are breeding guppies generally have some sort of trick up their sleeve as far as hiding some, either in the substrate or some Holy Rock in the back of the filter. I know Blake's got some in the back of his filters, and he's getting some really good results. So maybe it's just the Australian water. There's something that they don't like. Unless you can buffer it a bit, then they're fine and they'll go nuts. But if you don't, they just they don't die straight away or anything. They just don't thrive, and then they eventually wither away.
Yeah, maybe it puts a mineral in your water that's missing or something.
Exactly. Yeah. Definitely.
Chewy had something to say here about Corys. Rain season is when the Corys spawn. The dry season is when the pH drops heavily in the rainforest down to 3. Oh wow, that's more acidic than coffee. Yeah. It is. Coffee's 4.1 or something.
Gosh. I wonder what Red Bull. What's Red Bull?
It's all acids in it, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Imagine that and start putting pH levels on drinks.
Yeah. The fact is you looked for it.
No. I'm just looking at the different acids and stuff. Acid, B6, B12. Yeah.
Barometric pressure. Yeah, that's definitely what happens with the thunderstorms. But yeah,
Rumble hit 1,000 subscribers last night as well. The Aussies are kicking ass.
Yeah, they are. Us poor Canadians are lagging behind. I haven't hit 1,000 subscribers, but it's going.
These two guys do daily videos pretty much. So they work so hard and they've got so much great content. I've mentioned Blake a whole bunch of times because some of the things he's done has helped me with my fish room. And Rumble has the most amazing koi pond in the world that I've ever seen. I mean,
That are
private
legal.
one. Some
That are
public ones are pretty good.
And they're legal where he lives.
They're legal where he is. Yes,
Yep.
he's in WA. So it's what time is it there? Rumble. It's 8 a.m. now there.
Oh wow.
It's super
Wow.
early.
You guys are nuts. Yeah. I don't know if I could live stream at like 8, 9 in the morning.
I can't either. That's why when you sent the thing, I was like, can we just make it like another hour later?
Yeah, I didn't realize it was that early for you the next day.
Actually, in saying that, Rumble and Blake should be on live in 1 hour. They're doing a stream, which should be pretty entertaining considering they both just hit the 1K mark.
Okay.
So I'll be over there when that happens.
Most definitely. And Total Tropicals has something to say. The problems with guppies is Calamanus worms. I don't say it right, Cal. Oh, I'm not even going to try and say it. The veterinarian corrected me a couple times on my live stream, but yeah, if they have those worms and they're very easy to see, they got that they'll seriously have problems. It cost me a lot of money to get rid of those worms. But yeah, they're like,
what are they doing in guppies? Shouldn't they be in camels?
Yeah, you'd think, right?
The camelanus worm.
Yeah, camelanus worms. Looks like they should be in camels' asses. Yeah, but anyway, yeah, they stick out of the guppies' asses, and it kills them. It kills them. If you don't have levamisole, you're probably not fixing the problem. But guppies have other problems too. I find they just, I don't know, some bad genetics maybe. Your guppies, when they get bigger, they start getting bent backs and stuff like that around here. I find a lot of them.
And that's the other thing is they breed so easily. So then how many strains, are just being bred over and over and over and over, and then hit a point where, you're going to start having a lot of issues. And that's, again, same as the discus. And again, can be one of the reasons I think when you go and buy guppies over here, it either just works or it either just fails miserably. So,
yeah, most definitely. Oh,
sorry,
no worries.
Kind of a bit silly.
I was just seeing what someone said here. I can't talk and read at the same time. I'm not that, coordinated. I guess I need an assistant when I'm doing this. Oh, but anyways, yeah. So you got some projects on the go today.
Yes.
What are you working on, or is it top secret?
Top
secret.
It was nothing too special. I've got 2 unboxings to do.
Okay.
Which would be a bit of fun. And should be setting up that new shrimp tank. So, the only thing is because I'm using the Amazonia soil, I don't think, I can't really put the shrimp in straight away. So, I will. That's why I think I should set it up now, and then that way it'll expedite me being able to put shrimp in there.
Yeah, do you have the light or the dark?
Dark.
Yeah, you're 8 weeks.
Yeah, and lots of water changes.
You don't really have to do a lot during that 8 weeks. Just let it. Personally, I would. I do all my tanks with Amazonia for shrimp, so I can speak fairly intelligently about this. I do 8 weeks with a sponge filter. I don't touch it. I put in a few floater plants, like some water lettuce or something. Other than that, I put that in. I don't touch it. I'll test it in a month after I set it up. If my test comes back with ammonia still, then I leave it for another week, test it the next week. And it usually takes, unless I used a seasoned sponge filter, if I used a sponge filter with an active bacteria in it already, it takes less time, but it still takes a lot of time. There's so much ammonia in it, and it constantly produces ammonia. So if your cycle crashes, your shrimp will die, because it does.
Exactly. And that's my theory is to go with a lot of lot of plants and try and use some of the media that I've already got running, pull some of that out of an older filter, chuck that in. And yeah, hopefully the plants pull a lot of that, and hopefully the plants love it and just explode. And
They do. They do.
And then after that, yeah, exactly. So I'll keep testing it and see, and then I will add the shrimp, and that will be a final project. But the interesting thing about that project is I have no room for a fish tank out here. So I'm going to have to try and sneak it inside somewhere and not get in trouble.
Yeah. So you don't have any tanks in the house?
Yeah, I do. I've got 3 tanks inside, or my son's got one. I've got a 55-gallon in the lounge room and a Fluval Edge little nano 23-liter tank in our TV area, rumpus room, whatever, which that's going to get a big overhaul as well. So I'm hoping actually that I might have enough of the soil to do that to the Fluval Edge at the same time as well. So
very good.
I'm wondering about dry starting the Fluval Edge actually.
Well, you're going to take longer for your cycle because you're not going to do anything for your cycle while you're dry starting.
No, but I'm just thinking it won't, like, there's no rush with that one. But yes, it's a good point. So with the shrimp, I'd like to get it up and running ASAP. So yeah. Yeah,
you don't gain anything on your cycle. And I should note for anybody that was listening to me about so let it go the 6-8 weeks. And like I said, you don't have to do a water change. Don't touch it. But when you do finally get a 0 ammonia reading, do a big water change.
Yeah.
That's when I would do like a 50% water change, leave it for a day, test it again, and then add my shrimp.
Yep.
Yeah, most definitely. Chevy fish had to duck out. I seen some stuff about.
See you, Chevy.
Proper culling and finding related strains is important. Doug White. Yep. Yeah, and that's it. You start getting into some of, like I have some, and I've kept black Moscows and bred them, and I believe I improved the strain, but it's still line breeding, right? Line breeding. You can only line breed so long, and eventually you have to outcross. If you don't outcross, then you get smaller. The females won't have as many babies. You'll start getting back problems in them and whatnot. So it's a very good point, and there's a lot of real serious guppy people around here, and you see them out crossing quite often to keep their lines in good shape.
Yes, and that's where I think I wouldn't mind trying to crack that code and do a bit of guppy breeding, and we'll just start with the endless that I've already got, and that is one thing. I did have a just a black normal fancy guppy in with some of the endlers, so I have that black strain endler, the endlers that are predominantly black but then have the green and orange glow to them, and then you've got the actual black bar endlers. So that's one thing I would do is pull out some of the actual black bars and pull out the crossbreeds. The crossbreeds still look cool, and I don't mind breeding them, but to separate them and let them do their thing. And then, as you said, I think that's the thing is if with guppies, because you can end up with so many so quick. If you're going to sell them, just keep moving them on, and as you said, bring some new fish in every now and then.
Yeah, you almost have to. I'm starting to work with, and I don't know, I might even sell them because I don't even know if I want to start working with guppies again. I got so much shit on the go with shrimp right now and whatnot. I could really use that tank for shrimp. But I have some black metallics, Delta tails, and they look really, really cool. But what I found to breed guppies properly and keep a strain alive properly, it takes about 6 tanks per strain. So by the time you do all your callings, keep your males and females separate, keep your calls separate. Oh man, I don't think I'm willing to get into that again. That's. Yeah.
No, I Thirsty Rabbit, hello. You're an hour late, if it's all right.
Yeah, you're almost at the end of her.
Is fish room fever going on?
I think so. That's why I was thinking we should probably get off here shortly.
Yep.
You can finish your breakfast and have your morning coffee, and on this side of the world, we can continue drinking. So it's got to be 12 o'clock somewhere. So
if I join you right now, I'd probably be useless by the end of the day. So
yeah, and you'll be drinking by yourself for a lot of time. I'm going to bed in a couple hours. So, but anyways, yeah, thanks for coming on, Josh. Really appreciate it. It was a great chat with you, and I think everybody appreciated it as well. Looking at the chat. So everybody, if you have a sec, check out Josh's channel. I'm sure we've already had a link of it up here. See if I can find it.
No, thank you for having me on. It was
good chat. I really appreciate you coming on. Like I said, I wasn't sure with the timing and everything, but it worked out good, and I appreciate you putting your brain to work so early in the morning. I don't see it here, but you all know where to find AQUA Mate, or somebody can put it up. Yeah, thank you. And if you like what you see, smash that like button, maybe subscribe. Maybe I can join the 1,000 club one day.
You get there. You're already 2/3 of the way, aren't you?
I think so. I'm getting close to 700, I think. So
yeah, exactly. That's good. Yeah. It's exciting. You'll get there.
I'm sure I will. And I guess, yeah, I'm happy with the growth that my channel has, because my watch time and my subscribers to be monetized are exactly par. Like, I have the exact watch time I should have, actually a little bit more. So when I do get the amount of subscribers I need, I already have the watch time. I don't have to wait for that or anything like that. It should be pretty smooth. So that tells me the channel's pretty organic, and it's flowing at the exact pace it should be.
Yeah, so, exactly.
Yeah.
And I only just realized that after you get to the watch time and stuff, that you've got to maintain that every year. And I was like, I haven't looked at it for a while. Now I've looked at it going, I think same sort of thing as you. I think it's just tracking along how it should. It's not like it's exploded or gone nuts or anything like that. But yeah.
Yeah. And that's, I guess, I see some people get a lot of subscribers really easily, but then they're waiting for watch minutes quite often. And if they've gone maybe a non-organic way of gaining those subscribers by doing subscriber pushes, and there's all kinds of ways some people do it. But if you just get them by doing good content, good videos, and they're actually watching your videos, I think it's a way better way to go. And I guess one statistic I looked at the other day, which intrigued me a bit, was my views and watch time of non-subscribed people versus subscribed people and the percentages. And I'm getting very close to 30% of my view time is from subscribers. So it never used to be that high. So that's good. That means that the people that are subscribing are actually watching.
Yes, and coming back and watching, yes.
Yeah. So I'm happy with it. So
that's good.
Yeah, man. Okay. I will stop rambling on. Thank you, everybody, for watching. I'm sorry.
Thanks, everyone.
If I didn't answer all your questions or acknowledge them when I'm talking with guests. I have a really hard time keeping up with all this. So I hope we've left you with some value. And my next live stream will be this Monday evening at 9 o'clock.
With Mr. B?
Nope, that's the following Saturday. Yeah,
I saw that one there. That was cool.
yeah, Mr. B. And I don't know how many live streams Mr. B's been on, so it'll be something not everybody has seen as well. Mr. B's from the East Coast of Canada. So we're gonna have a Canadian show, which
Awesome.
we do. Yeah, yeah. So, anyways, enjoy your breakfast, and we'll talk to you later. And talk to the rest of you later. Ciao.
See ya.